Greetings and thank you for joining for us today for this operator meeting. My name is Hannah Hickam and I will be your host. We'll just give folks another moment or so and then we'll get started. I believe first up is Chris Eisinger with financial assurance forms updates, and then we'll do a Q&A.
And Hannah, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quickly.
Okay.
Okay, so hopefully everyone can see my screen. Good morning and thanks for joining us today. Today's operator meeting will be, again, quite brief. Just wanted to provide an update as to the electronic forms rollout associated with financial assurance implementation. Last week, we made available the Form 1B, which for the most part, I think has been successful, with most operators being able to fill out the 1B and make payments for their mitigation fees. I realize a lot of people have sent me emails and I am the contact person, some of which I have not gotten back to. So I will be continuing to work through those emails and respond to people as soon as I can. So yeah, if you have questions, continue to send them to us and we'll move as fast as we can. The other forms that are now available that were not available last week at the operator meeting time is a 6A. If you log into web forms, you should see a 6A available, which is the out of service designation. And then the 3B, it was available last week on the new eForms platform. And finally, the 1C, we hope to have available either later today or tomorrow. We're just doing our final testing with it, and that will also be available through the new electronic forms platform. The Form 3, we're continuing to work on as fast as we can, and we're still on track for a mid to late August for a public release of that. So just as a reminder that the 1B deadline was yesterday, August 1st. So if you have started the 1B, please continue to work on that and get that submitted as soon as you can with any required mitigation fee payments. And another comment, for any payments you make, we only accept electronic checks paid through the electronic payment system that you'll find with the 1B. So please do not mail us a check or come down to the office with a paper check. If you have questions about the electronic payment system, please reach out to myself. And then I also wanted to highlight some staff contacts for questions. Like I said, I'm trying to go through as many as I can, but there are a lot of emails. With the 1B, if you have questions specifically about well lists, what's being populated, or payment calculations, definitely reach out to me. If you have questions about liability insurance that's on the Form B, please contact Debbie Lutz. For the 3B, I'm also the point of contact at this point. The 6A is Diane McCoy. And for the 1C, which will be rolled out here today or tomorrow, you can contact Jane Stanzik or Ken Robertson with any questions. So that is all I have for today. We are happy to answer any questions you might have. I don't know if Scott or anyone else on the call have any other announcements to make, but I think that's it for me, Hannah. So thank you.
Great, thanks, Chris.
I said that, and I'll add one thing very quickly, just for clarity. Just in terms of finding these forms, in case you still are unsure of where to go, from our homepage, you can find access to all these forms under forms, and they're listed by form number. And so you'll see on the right-hand column, farthest right, there's a link to the particular electronic form. So you would just click on the link, whether web forms or e-forms for it. So that's it.
Thanks, Chris. And we do have a few questions. The first one is for the 1B. In the future, is there a possibility of sending payment via wire transfer?
So the answer is, as far as I know, is no. Because of constraints we have with our electronic payment system through the state of Colorado, we are constrained to just using electronic checks, specifically ACH debit. So I'm not aware of option for wire transfer.
Great, thanks, Chris. Next question is there a due date for the Form 6A or just before the Form 3?
The due date would be just before the Form 3. So you'll need that information most critically for the Form 3. There are also some other aspects of the 6A that come into play, but it's mostly just for the Form 3. And so you would want to have it prepared then.
Great, thanks, Chris. Next question is, if a company does not have any out-of-service wells to designate, do we have to fill out the 6A still and designate no wells, or can we skip that form?
My understanding is that you do not have to, you would not submit a Form 6A. It's only if you have out-of-service wells to designate.
Thanks, Chris. The next question is, the well list that is on the mitigation form has the status of a few forms wrong. How do I get this corrected? And then they said wells wrong, not forms. So a few wells wrong.
Sure, there's a fairly automated process in our database which shows what the status is for those particular wells on a well list. If you are seeing ones that you think are incorrect as of that December 31st date, please reach out to us, to myself, and we can look into that and see what where the issue may be. But again, remember that the date for the status of those wells is as of December 31st, not currently, not before, not after.
Thanks. Next question is, it appears that the Form 1B is automatically populated by your database. If the information in the grayed out cells is incorrect, how do you change it? The Form 1B does not let you amend the bad data in these grayed out cells.
Again, that's something that you would want to reach out to myself or one of the other staff, Ken Roberts in particular, might be able to help. But I would say just contact me or Jane Stanzik. She's the other person. She's, I believe, now back again, so is available to help. But that's for anything that's grayed out, any of the calculations, that is something that you have to work with us to correct.
Cool. I see Jane. I'm going to see if she wants to say anything. I don't have any other questions so far, but folks might be typing them in, so we'll just give them a few more minutes. Let me go ahead and put up on the screen when the next meeting is.
And Jane, are you wanting to contribute? Yeah. Okay.
Sure do. Yeah, for sure. So a reminder to everyone, these new forms have a much greater amount of auto-populated data in them, and that's the purpose is to make that easier for operators to submit them. And you need to remember that the data that's in our database got there from forms that you sent to us. So remember, it's your data, it's what you've reported to us in terms of the status of a well or any aspect of a well or production. So these forms are going to point out things that you might think are incorrect, and you do need to reach out to Chris or myself. Please don't contact your favorite engineer or your favorite permitter at this point. Please contact Chris or me if there's something that you see as a problem, and we'll have to investigate it and figure out how for you to correct it, because it's the data you've reported to us, and that's how it got into our database.
Great, Jane. And then I have here up on the screen the next dates for the regular meetings. I believe Chris and I discussed adding some meetings after mid-December, or sorry, mid-September to October. So I will add those next week. You'll see which dates those will be, but they'll just be the Tuesday like we've been doing. Oh, another question. What form will be used for the financial assurance plan? We do not have federal bonded wells.
So I can answer that. It'll be the Form 3 will be the financial assurance plan form. And so even with or without federal bonded wells, you're still going to use the Form 3 for that when it's available here in several weeks.
Great. And then someone else asked.
Jane, do you want to add anything?
I'm going to answer that next question.
Okay, please do.
All right, the next question is, where is the requirement for the Form 3?
It's Rule 702.
Great, thank you. We'll just give folks a few more minutes to type in any other questions. Since we're here, if anybody needs to know how to navigate to anything specific on the webpage, we could do that real quick too, if you have any questions there.
You know, Hannah, just in case there are newcomers on here, why don't you just navigate to regulation forms and show people how to, you know, click the link to get to the form that they're needing to file, just in case there's someone new that maybe is not familiar with that.
Sure. So I have a quick link, which I recommend for everybody to have on their bookmarks page, but you can also just Google COGCC, that'll take you there. And then here's the main page here. You go to regulation and then forms. And then these are all of our forms. If you click on any of these, it'll take you to a little page that tells you who the staff contact is for that. You can work your way from top to bottom. And then you can click here to go to the form. So this is eForms, but I don't have an eForms login. So this is as far as I can go, but all the rest of you will have logins that you can log in. And what was the other thing, Scott?
That was it. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, and then there's other stuff under About Us. So if you needed a contact list or the org chart, those things are right here. All right, we've got another question. For the language on the 6A, evidence of FA, what kind of language is expected? i.e., do we need to state our liability insurance policy number again, etc.?
Jane, do you have any input there, or if Diane's on the call, she might also provide some input.
Well, you know, I can't, since I was gone for 2 weeks, I've lost my access to internal documents. That'll teach me to take vacation, huh? Hang on, I'm just searching for something to help with that. But you know what, Scott and Christopher, my contact information isn't on the website anywhere anymore. I don't know where you want to put it.
Jane, we'll work on a place to add you back in so it's clear for people to contact you when appropriate.
So I think the question is in reference to not evidence of financial assurance, but correct me if I'm wrong. Are you referring to the data field on the Form 6A that says provide evidence that the operator is financially capable of meeting the timelines required? Okay, yes, that field. Cool. Okay. You know, that's kind of up to you. The sort of things that the commission is looking for there, that they added this as part of the requirements in the rules is, you know, if you send in on your Form 6A that you're going to commit to plugging 300 wells, you would want to discuss how many wells you typically plug every year, what your budget, you know, mention that you are, you know, if you only because it kind of goes with the question right before that on the Form 6A, which is the number of wells the operator has plugged in the previous 12 months. So if that's a 0, and now you're sending in 300 wells that you're going to commit to getting plugged according to what the rules require for a well that's designated as out of service, you're going to need to say, yeah, we didn't plug any wells last year, but we've contracted 3 plugging rigs, and we're going to get out there, and we're budgeting specifically to meet the goal, things like that. Those, as I said, those 2 questions go together, and the commissioners were, concerned that an operator who hasn't plugged a well in several years is suddenly going to get all these out of service wells plugged. So you need to just discuss what your business plan is and how you're going to make that all happen. Scott, does that sound good?
Yeah, and I was just going to add that, we have not worked through this process yet, right? So we will probably fine tune, but my anticipation of how this works administratively is, the Form 6A is not subject to review on it. It's accepted, right? Because it's your free will designation of wells that you are committing to never return to oil and gas production. And that's your free will opportunity to do that. And there's some benefits in doing that, but there's also some responsibilities in doing that. One of which is to pursue the plugging of those out of service wells in a diligent manner. And this text that you're adding is going to convince the reviewer of your Form 6A, that you have a reasonable plan. If you don't have a reasonable plan, you can expect someone probably from engineering to reach out and say, we're going to need you to make a little more effort on this, or we're going to ask the director to increase your financial assurance so that we make sure that the citizens of the state of Colorado are not left holding a bag here. Likewise, and so that's the way I anticipate this working. Likewise, if you have a really great plan, but then you're not implementing it, same thing. The review of that annual review of financial assurance, the annual review of that plugging operations as directed now by the new rules, you could likely expect someone reaching out and saying, hey, you're not implementing your plan. Either implement it, or we're going to request the director ask for more financial assurance. That's how I interpret the rules to work. Like I said, we haven't actually worked through this with a test case yet. Test cases are always how we find fine tuning to our administrative practices. But that's the 40,000 foot level of how I would see this working at this time. So, the 6A is your opportunity to get some relief from the financial assurance requirements, provided you pursue plugging those wells with due diligence. And so that would be my added response. Jane, do you have any problems with what I just said? Does that sound like what we've talked about before?
All right, all good. And then that person also said thanks. So I'm assuming that means that they understood the answer and are happy with it. And we haven't gotten any questions through all of that, but we'll give folks just a little longer to do that. Next week is our regular operator meeting. So we'll have hopefully a little bit more of a broad range of topics and not just financial assurance.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Hannah.
Yep. And then if anybody needs to be on the operator email list, then I'll put my email up here on the screen. You can email me and I will put you on the list, and then you can receive all of the notifications that we send.
Yeah, thank you, Hannah. Everyone have a good day.
And thanks everyone for being here. Hope you have a good day. Take care.